All right, team, welcome back to this Christmas edition of After Hours. We have a great show for you today. A lot to discuss today, Maddie. We're going to be discussing how much of the globe is invested in crypto. Also, Brian Brooks, a while ago, gave some comments about cryptocurrencies and what they mean and what they are trying to go after. So we're going to discuss those comments. Brian Brooks is at the HBAR Foundation. He was a Coinbase exec. He was in the running for SEC chair, and we're going to discuss those comments. We're also going to discuss the Casper growth in 2024. It is easy to say that we track Casper under a little microscope and we watch every single move, and we did that all this year, and we're going to give you our final thoughts about Casper this year and what to look forward to in 2025. This is After Hours. Maddie, anything to tell the team, because this is our second to last show of the year? What should the team be knowing from Matthew Breenan?
If you guys have been sticking with us a little bit here on the channel on YouTube for the last year and some change, if you guys have been part of your program, you guys know kind of where our focus is right now. A lot of us are really enjoying the way the markets are looking, even with this corrective behavior, just because we've done a really great job of building positions in the bear market. I know that we also have some of you guys have joined in the last 6 or 7 months, and you guys have done a good job of following our consistent investor strategy and building positions, even though, they were built a little later on than maybe you would have desired them to be. But I'm really proud of where most of you guys are at here. And I'm excited to close out this year and see a nice little finisher to our run potentially next year. So I think we're still, very much early into this cycle. I think we got a lot of bull run left, and I'm very excited to, enjoy a little bit of downtime at the end of this year, but really just attack it and, get back to it at the top of next year.
Absolutely, Matt. As you can see, team, I'm in this weird, white background. I really just hopped into one of my guest rooms and set up my PC. My desk, my office is being set up right now, and so I had to makeshift an office for this week and next week's recording. So weird setup here, but I'm excited. I'm in Arizona now, Maddie. It's nice and warm out here. You kind of feel the energy. You wake up in the morning, everything's bright, everything's warm. It's like, damn, I want to work hard today. So I really like that feeling. Today, though, I'm not talking about me. On today's show, we have a lot of great topics for you guys, so you're going to want to stay until the end. But no show this Wednesday because it's Christmas, and next week will be our last show on YouTube for the year. So you're going to want to tap in with that. And Maddie, I was thinking about, hopefully today we do great Casper coverage today and get through some HBAR news and, this and that about crypto. And then hopefully next week, team, I would like to discuss, give the year-end, review performance-wise of some of our cryptos that we buy and also the bigger crypto market. I know, Maddie, there's this thing where people will look at a time frame of a performance of a crypto and they'll judge the crypto off that. They'll be like, oh, XRP performed well here. That makes it a good buy, or this did that. And so, team, we're going to give you our honest thoughts about that mentality and, how we actually have mentality with buying our cryptos and the fundamentals of projects and when to buy, when not to buy. We're going to talk about that next week and kind of give the recap and kind of talk about our own personal portfolios, hopefully, and discuss, because that's the thing, Matt. If our cryptos don't perform, what are we doing here? Are we here talking about news every week? Are we here, looking at the charts for fun? No, we want to make money in this asset class, right? So that's what we're going to discuss next week. Maddie, let's talk about the overall crypto market right now. Seeing some corrective behavior in Bitcoin, and a lot of people's freaking out. You look at the big heads of the big crypto YouTube channels right now. They're all titling their videos like, "Oh, is this it? Is this the crash?" And we don't title our videos that way sometimes, maybe for some Casper content. But we are seeing corrective behavior in the crypto market right now. We are seeing a pullback in Bitcoin right now, 10%. And that's not abnormal, Maddie. And I think people, for the new folk here, I think they need to understand that we've seen that in previous bull runs. In the 2017 bull run, we've seen pauses on the way up, 30-40% corrections. In the 2021 bull run, we saw a big 25% pause or corrective move in the price of Bitcoin. So Maddie, talk about why people should not be freaking out right now. Correction is normal, and how they should, potentially invest in accordingly with their altcoins with this correction in the altcoin market, the crypto market.
Sure. Most people, I think, have been conditioned by the 5 to 8 weeks of breakout behavior that you had across the board. And of course, there were some periods where they were a little bit more bullish and others where kind of all boats were rising, and you saw a lot of assets do 20% days, 30% days, 50% days, right? And then, we keep moving up. And a lot of people, like you mentioned kind of at the top of the episode, stop looking at the larger structures. They stop pulling out to their weekly levels. They stop looking at some of the areas of interest where we previously maybe had support and how we could potentially enter that area re-entering as an area of resistance. And a lot of people think when we start to get into these big bullish breakouts, well, Matt, like we're going to break into new all-time highs immediately. We have to because this is what I want, right? Like, but that doesn't really matter. When we enter the periods of resistance where we've extended ourselves, the way we have with XRP, HBAR, Algorand, a variety of others. What I pointed to multiple times, especially with our team in the Discord, I know you guys were very itchy and you guys were like, but can I add more now? We saw a 5% pullback. Should I add more now? And I'm like, no, this is not the time to add. When you guys watch the consistent investor strategy, what we talk about setting aside our 25% monthly contribution or whatever your contribution schedule is setting it aside as dry powder to earn interest in USDC to capitalize on meaningful corrections. And I know that maybe for some of you guys, this is your first cycle, so you're like trying to figure out what a meaningful correction looks like. I promise you, when you see plus 50% days, plus 80% days, or even let's say plus 400 or 500% 3-week periods, that a 5 or 10% correction is probably not worth your dry powder. And a lot of you guys didn't follow that, and you jumped into it. You now have to spend even more money to correct those higher entries. More of our team though was patient and saw the back-to-back red days, and we're like, okay, here's a couple areas of interest. For example, Algorand came back down, Sushi came back down, APA3 came back down, Zcash re-entered like the low 40s region, which we told you guys was a great area of interest. But nobody's ever interested on those really deep pullbacks. They want to feel like they're going to ride the fastest horse, that they're just going to get on the horse that's already in action, and they're going to nail it perfectly up for another 4 or 5x. That's generally not how it goes. You guys also have to remember that market makers are the ones that are in charge of this market, right? So if they see that there's a ridiculous amount of leverage open in the markets, they're going to flush that. Nobody rides for free in this market. So if you guys think that you can just grab the next leg up by grabbing a 100x, or you can just continue to DCA into stuff that's done at 5, 6, 7x, you're probably going to get hurt, right? If you guys are using your weekly levels, which is really where we use for a lot of our decision making here, you would have been buying Algorand on a nice little pullback that re-entered the value zone. You would have been able to have a handful of opportunities. Now, there will be some opportunities you don't get. For example, HBAR and XRP, XLM have not re-entered my value zones, so those are no-goes. But there were plenty of assets that did enter my value zones, and we capitalized on those. So hopefully you guys are kind of learning to like eradicate the mentality of I need to get on every opportunity and build every bag, and only jump on the opportunities that come back to you. Do not chase price. Let price come to you, and then execute accordingly.
Maddie, I saw a person we pick on a lot over the last 3 years. He's an influencer, and we pick on him from time to time, more so in the earlier stages of CryptoCharged. But I saw him say something atrocious on the internet this weekend, and he was saying like, hey, if you're buying crypto right now, forget about selling it this bull run. You're going to have to sell it next bull run, basically like 2028, right? And I was thinking about that, and I was like, first of all, I was like, I hope people don't trust this guy and don't believe in what he's saying right now. But second of all, just like you said, Maddie, there are so many cryptos right now still offering great buying within their value zones, right? So what is a value zone, Maddie? Maybe let's start there, right? So a value zone is a great area of interest to be buying a digital asset, right? We look at the Fibonacci, the 23.6% Fib. Anything under that, that's a pretty good buy, right? And we have an indicator that we use for that, right? But even when we talk about Zcash right now, Zcash risk to reward is still a great buy right now. Am I going to be buying Zcash right now? Right. No, we bought the bottoms. We bought the dead bottoms of it, right? So there's other things I need to be allocating to. So when we take this perspective of buying crypto, Matt, we want to be strategic with that, right? And if we're being strategic, I 100% believe, team, even if you're not a CryptoCharged member, I believe you can buy one of these assets right now and be successful if you sell the top, if well, you're going to need CryptoCharged. You're going to need to have an exit plan, right? You're going to need to watch the consistent investor strategy and learn how to exit. But Casper, API3, EOS, Atom, DAG, DOT, Filecoin, Sushi, these are all cryptos still offering great buying opportunities right now. Some more than others. These are in great value zones right now. But then, Matt, you have other ones still near the all-time lows, like Casper, like EOS, like Filecoin, still near their lows or 50% off their lows, right? Or 100% like Casper. Casper dropped a lot there. And so that 100%, it's a little bit more than 100% move. That was pretty incredible, but still right, relatively near the lows, Matt. And that's what you need to be doing right now, is you need to be buying the lows of these assets right now. So team, can you buy crypto right now and be successful this bull run? Maddie, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. You just won't be able to blanket DCA everything like you do in a bear market. You have to be a little bit more selective of what you DCA into, and then the stuff that you do want to get into, again, create a hit list for yourself. Hey, I like HBAR. Hey, I like XRP. Hey, I like XYZ asset that really hasn't come down very much. Mark up some areas of interest, set some alerts for yourself, set some limits if you really just want to make it easier on yourself, and let the trade come to you. But there are a handful of opportunities, like we mentioned, like APA3 and Casper, and Filecoin that are still just offering, and even Sushi, offering just easy DCA opportunities where under a certain price point you can just kind of DCA with having a good risk to reward ratio no matter what kind of happens in that range. So those are the opportunities, I think, especially if you're brand new and you haven't built a portfolio at all yet. Those are like 3 good opportunities you could just start a DCA with. Of course, you can kind of start to layer in some limits for other assets after that, but that's a good way to start kind of building a base in your portfolio. Once we get in a leg up, you can reevaluate, see what's still offering a good value, look for higher lows, et cetera, et cetera.
I love that, Maddie. Maddie, I did want to talk to the team really quick, just about, I know it's the 23rd right now. It's a little bit late to be getting Christmas gifts, but one of my friends got me a great gift. I have a Trezor, I have a Ledger, and we typically, for birthdays and Christmases or holidays, just buy each other Ledger products at this point, right? We buy each other Ledger product, and we're just swapping Ledger products. But he got me he got me this Ledger Flex, and Dan was telling me a lot about that, just like the ease with the tapping. You don't have to double click with your Ledger, which I don't think that's a problem anyways, but typing the passcode, confirming transactions, a lot easier with this. All right, it's a touchscreen. But I just want to talk about this because I was telling Matt before the show how legit of a gift this is, right? So with this is like $200 as a gift. He spent way more money on a gift than I spent on him. I was like, oh damn, I guess I got to go get a bigger gift now. And he was like, you know what he told me, Matt? He was like, no, because you got me into crypto. He's got a bigger crypto portfolio than me now, and so now he's like, hey bro, this is for what you did for me. And I thought that was pretty cool.
That's cool.
But with this though, Maddie, this is better than this in some respects. It comes with a $70 to go towards Bitcoin. You have $70 worth of Bitcoin here that comes with it. And this is very interesting, right, as an investor, because when I saw 70, I actually saw 700 on paper. If your altcoin 10x's, okay, you say you got $2 for a transaction fee, you got $68, crypto 10x's, $680 right here, along with this. This is an amazing gift right here. So team, if it's not too late, you still need to get someone a gift. I suggest going with the Ledger product. I don't know if these come with all the Ledger products, but this was a smoke in addition to this. I think so. If you are able to buy and swap the Bitcoin for an altcoin on Coinbase or wherever this is available. Oh, this is probably on the Ledger app, right, Maddie? So that should be
definitely Ledger Live. They're probably going to let you drop it in there.
Super easy swap there, and that should be pretty fun. And that's a pretty good gift there. Let's talk about something else. We're in the Christmas giving. Maddie, are we giving anything away for Christmas here? I'm going to put you on the spot. Are we giving anything for Christmas here? Because it is.
I'm thinking that maybe a New Year's giveaway. I think that probably. So let's start the year off. Start the year off. I don't know. You know me, man. I'm a very calculated gift giver. So I want to put some thought into what we give away and make sure it's something that people would really enjoy and maybe want to boost some stuff on socials for us to actually win the item. So we'll put some thought into it and do something for New Year's.
You can gift someone with the gift of CryptoCharged though.
You absolutely can. You guys can check out with gift cards. If you guys are looking at the pricing there and you see the full pricing, you guys can shoot me a message. We'll get you guys a code for the discounted pricing if you guys want to give a gift card for a friend or family member. And we can do those for annuals and quarterlies. So if you guys are interested in that, you guys want to see some better pricing on those, just shoot me a message. You want to get multiple of them, I'll even cut you a deal there. So shoot me a message. I'd be happy to help you, get your friends and family into CryptoCharged at a good rate.
That would be pretty cool, team. All right, helping your family members or friends make money within a new asset class. I mean, they'll love you forever. When you get people into crypto, Matt, and they start making money, they treat you differently. They just do. It happens every single time. Happens every single
Definitely.
time. And so, team, you can gift your family a CryptoCharged membership. But what is CryptoCharged? Team, become a CryptoCharged member. Click the pin link down below. Take you to our website. Use code YouTube. And you can sign up there. We're from a crypto education platform. You have the daily shows, you have the tools, you have the community. Use code YouTube, sign up today. Matt, let's get into some of the things for today. And everyone's always talking about how early we are in crypto. And, I usually take Watcher Guru with a grain of salt nowadays. And if they don't have an article that they're sourcing, you might as well just don't even believe it. But they did put this today. They said, fun fact, less than 7% of the global population is invested into crypto. Maddie, how early are we still in crypto right now?
Oh, very early. And also, like when you think about that figure and they say 7%, that's like 7% total invested. That's not 7% of investors or 7% of the total population is educated about crypto. They
Mm.
just are invested in crypto, right? So that could mean they have $15 in Doge or $20 in Bitcoin because their nan or whatever, like, told them about Bitcoin. But I would say that the actual number of people that pay attention to crypto, like, people who like you guys who tune into the show, people who are a part of CryptoCharge or spend any amount of time or money on researching outside of just like buying two or three things that you see, as kind of like the big coins on Coinbase. That probably number is probably really small. I'm going to say it's probably like a quarter of 1% of the total population is probably, dialed in like this. So, I've even seen just like I mentioned every time, the evolution of just hardware and software. Like my original Ledger wallet compared to the Nano X to the Flex that we just showed off now, like the space has changed very, very dramatically. Coinbase from like when I very first signed up to having like a 3-week waiting period before you could get, your account set up because they were just didn't have the staff to, Coinbase now offering futures and yield and all these different things. So, this space is still, moving very quickly, but it is still very young. And I think there's still a ton of time left for growth in this space. I'm excited for it. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, once the bull runs over, that's it. Crypto's done. I'm like, not really. Like this tech in the whole space continues to grow even when you're not paying attention to it. So yeah, definitely seen a lot of growth over the last few years.
HBAR Foundation Board of Director Brian Brooks joins MicroStrategy Board. So Brian Brooks, I feel like we've covered him a couple times this year. I mean, his background, he was in law. He was a senior advisor at Fannie Mae, Coinbase exec. He was just in the running for SEC chair. And we've talked a lot about him. And now he's joining the board of MicroStrategy. But I wanted to look at, there was a quote I saw on Twitter, and I thought this was very interesting because this is a very valuable talking point if you're new to crypto. Even some people, they don't really know what the purpose of buying crypto even is. So we're going to get through some of these beginner things and then we're going to get into Casper. But I want to talk about this quote he said right here. He said, cryptocurrency is not a threat to the US dollar. It's a threat to the modern banking system. Maddie, what do you think crypto is an actual threat to?
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's definitely a threat to the friction that's in the system that is highly profitable to legacy systems. So right now, like when you move money from one bank to another, or especially when you move to international banks or between smaller banks where charter banks and other FX exchanges are included, every step of the way, someone's taking a little piece of the pie and intentionally making that process slower, more difficult, and more expensive, and they benefit from that. So the more solutions that we start to see that run on DLT, whether it be Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, it doesn't really matter, right? The more and more you see us have a lesser dependency on those legacy systems, and we can start to have, more finality and losing less on exchange rates and being able to send money back to other countries more quickly, that starts to take away a lot of the profitability from those companies. So deep down, though, I know that the banking system is not going to just slowly let everything move over to a DLT system and then not be involved, right? So they either have to adapt or die. So eventually they're going to, of course, still do services that are going to cost money, and people are willing to pay that because they don't want to do self-custody and a variety of other things. But they are eventually going to have to instill the systems that are highly efficient, whether it be base network or XLM or XRP, things that we're already seeing for stable coins. I would say that if you guys look at, for example, right now, even from like most major exchanges where it's like BitUnix, MEXC, Uphold, Coinbase, when you go to send USDC, now you get tons of options, right? Even just a few years ago, it was primarily just ETH. So like we were just talking about how quickly the space moves, now I can send over Optimism, Stellar Lumens, Base Network, and more often than not, it's free or practically next to free. So I have a hard time believing that these banking systems are not going to want to integrate a lot of these networks, even if they create their own side chains or whatever else to fit their particular needs. They would be fighting a very, very powerful piece of technology to maintain a system that sucks.
I love that. That made me think about, there was a clip from the All In podcast. It's like a financial show with these billionaires on it. And they were talking about how it's either SpaceX or Starlink, which I believe are two separate companies. I'm not too familiar with all of
They are.
Elon's companies. Okay, got it. Good. So
SpaceX is the space is the yeah, and Starlink is the Wi-Fi, is the satellite internet.
Got it. Got it. So SpaceX actually uses stable coins as a cross-border currency. And I thought that was very interesting. And when they were talking about it, it's like, yeah, they don't want to have to deal with the FX markets and all the, friction and fees that you have to forego or that's implemented within the FX markets. And so SpaceX actually uses stablecoins. I thought that was very interesting because we talked about stablecoins
Nice.
last week and how valuable it is, right? So like even the biggest companies in the world are using stablecoins. What does that mean for us? Where are we really going? Let's talk about Casper growth. This is what I really want to talk about, of course, at 19 minutes. I'm really excited to talk about Casper because, it was first, couple quarters of this year, man, it was difficult. It was frustrating. If you hear the top creators, if you were listening to us, pretty frustrated with what was happening. We were asking questions. We wanted clarity. We weren't really getting that. And towards Q3, with the halt of the network, I really believe that was the final straw for the people that were really, involved with Casper since day one, people being Miranel and Casper Labs, now known as Prove AI. And so they had a complete exit. So we're going to talk about right now, our boy Michael Storer put out a blog just talking about he called it Achieving Decentralization by Michael Storer. So we're going to talk about what he said there, but also a couple of updates for Casper here, Maddie. A lot of growth within these last couple weeks, pretty much thanks to Michael. I think that's easy to say. Michael has led the way for all of these new things to happen for Casper, and development on the network is what we need to see for a successful crypto project in the long term. We're not thinking short term here. We're not buying meme coins. We are thinking long term. So put on your long term cap team as I talk about these things right now. We had the board transition complete with the interim board members not interim anymore. Now the official board members, Matt Schaffnick, who was CFO, COO, now CEO, and Michael Storer leading the way as president. So we have people we can rely on at the association to lead the vision. All right. So what's coming to the Casper network? All right. I like this one because we talked about IPW last year. A little bit different here, not as much utility, but we're talking about 80s themes, pre-apocalyptic NFTs, 10,000 unique NFTs on the Casper network being minted on the Casper network here coming soon, which is pretty bullish. And then we have Casper 2.0 now, not irreversible. It is here. It is what Maddie says. He always says this. It is a facelift. And when you break that down into what that means for Casper now, what does that mean for Casper that people want to know? What does Casper 2.0 do for Casper that Casper 1.0 couldn't do?
Yeah, so one of the main things is going to be that burning mechanism that DeFi pools are going to be able to implement, which technically is going to take circulating supply of Casper out of the market and can impact price, differently over time. One of the things also is we have the predictable gas fees with Casper, but now we can change and alter what kind of gas is required on certain chains, and that's going to be important for people who want to build side chains or build their own applications and have customizability with all of that. And of course, virtual machines are also going to be a very important component that needs to continuously be upgraded. So with Ethereum virtual machines are like the lifeline of integrating other chains and interoperability between multiple chains and still receiving a lot of the value off of ETH without necessarily being bound to the ETH ecosystem and ERC20 standards. So same is going to be true here of Casper. The more interoperability we get, the easier it is to run a virtual machine. The more building you're potentially going to get on the network. So again, there's lots of other changes. I messaged Michael just last night actually, and he's very interested in coming on the show at the top of next year to kind of talk to you guys a little bit about what's going on with 2.0, what the expectations are. We also have very exciting, we're going to be building our own Casper node. Almost all the hardware has arrived. And then somebody from Michael Stoyer's team is going to be walking me through how to set it up for you guys. So it's going to be a two-part YouTube for you guys. So one, how to build a machine, which by the way is not very expensive or difficult for those of you guys out there who say it's very difficult. And then we're going to do part two where we're going to be actually like installing the Linux OS and then like running all the Casper scripts. And then so if you guys wanted to build and run your own Casper node, you guys be able to do so. It will also be a 0% commission node. So we're not going to make any money off this. I'm going to eat the operating cost because again, for those of you who say it's very expensive to run a Casper node, I'm going to prove to you it's not, and I'll actually run you guys the exact watts that I'm pulling off of this machine, so we can actually bring it down to it. So I just bring that up because I really am passionate about Casper Network. I'm not just a speculator and investor. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and not only going to show you guys how to build and run your own node, but we're also going to offer a 0% commission node to just boost overall engagement and excitement for the network and get more people involved.
Very ballsy, Maddie. I was going to save that so we could talk about at the end, but team, that is very exciting. If you want to get involved there, Maddie will break it down for you. So Maddie, I'm super excited for that. We haven't really got to talk about a whole lot here, but that's super exciting. I did want to get into something that Michael posted on the blog, and the purpose why I want to talk about this in specific is because it was a rough earlier stages for Casper, but the development and the transition we've seen within the last couple months, last 4 or 5 months now, is remarkable for a crypto project, right? A crypto project in this phase where, the founding leaders, leave, and it seems like we have no one to turn to for development of the project, and Michael swiftly coming in and being that transition. Ever since I created something the other day, it was like pre-store, post-store, and I was looking at it, everything that happened before he was announced as the transition, everything before that was like very low brow, like not effective for the network. And then afterwards, we're starting to see, we saw a real change in structure. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I think in 2025, we're going to see real implementation for the Casper network. So let's break down what has changed, right? They said something early on. And when I say they, I mean Michael and the interim board. They said we need to have a community-centered vision. And that might sound like BS to you, but when you actually go into it, it actually makes sense. So they changed the governance model of the Casper network so that the validators could, the new government model centers around on-chain voting. Okay, so the validators play the role of decision making. Okay, and so it has some things that other networks have. Here's a couple. I was learning a lot about these features that other networks have and then tracing it back to Casper. A lot similar to Polkadot and other networks out there. But here are some things that you should probably be looking at depending on what the network has. It's quorum adjusted outcomes, proportional stake-based voting, and then the engagement through the community. So the community comes and you go to the Casper forum and you say what you want changed. Then we vote. The validators vote. They vote for, against, or they just abstain from voting, all right? Depending on what happens in that vote, then we will decide where we go from there. Are we for this? Okay, now we can actually implement this change, right? And they just did this earlier this month. They had the second round of voting, and they're voting on the delegation policy of the Casper network. All right, these things encapsulate the round duration, the validator select count, the eligibility criteria for a delegation, mechanisms, all this stuff when it comes to delegation. So changing the delegation policy. And so the validators voted on it and they voted for it. Okay. And so now we're waiting on actual implementation. And you can go on Michael's Twitter and he kind of breaks this down. But we are waiting on the implementation, and that's what we've been waiting on, Maddie. We want things to be set on the table for us to decide. Oh, yes, we want that. Okay, now let's go implement. And so that's why I say we haven't seen this implementation yet, but 2025 is the year for implementation for Casper. We're now, 2024, we finally got the structure right, okay? You can go on and on about like how Casper Labs had a lot of significance to play in the Casper network, and they had their hands in the cookie jar and they were pulling the strings, and at some point the Casper network had to become its own, right? Now the Casper network, in Michael Storer words, has achieved decentralization. It is decentralized. It is a decentralized network, not with its hands in the cookie jar pulling the strings like a for-profit company was. Now is a completely decentralized network that we can rely on, that is seeing growth. And from an investment point, this should get you all excited, right, Matt? If we are looking at a young project, a small cap crypto that's developing and now has the structure down, and hopefully we're going to see that implementation. I don't want to speak too fast here, but like that's what we really need to see for the long-term success of a project. Now, what does that mean for our investments, Matt? What does that mean for a smaller cap crypto that we're investing in right now in the bull run?
Yeah, so I never look at any like upgrade or any one feature and I'm like, that's what's going to make price 10x. And if you guys are looking for that, that's never going to be the case. I mean, even when I see things that are very bullish, I'm always excited about it. Even when it's about other chains, XRP, HBAR, doesn't matter. I'm always excited about those developments, but really more often than not, you don't see like an immediate spike in price on that news, right? Like hypothetically, what we should have seen when Casper Labs Prove AI migrated and they said, hey, we're not building on Casper anymore, we're actually building on Hedera. HBAR price did nothing. In fact, I think it sold off like a couple of percentage that day, not in response to that, but like I don't depend on these things to create an immediate catalyst. Now, when we have framework and support and libraries that are, of good quality, that provide, very clear instructions for developers to be able to build. It's inexpensive for them to build. When you have all those tools in place, and enterprises even that see this development, they're more incentivized to potentially build on a network. Of course, more building equals more testing, more tokens spent, takes some supply out of circulation, which can have a good impact on price over long periods of time, right? So it's really not so much about what can this do for price by March of 2025, but more what can this do for the development of the network over the next several years, and of course, kind of just create like a more bullish sentiment. You look at a lot of other smaller, projects that were, price-wise, maybe not the best for, the first like 8, 9, 10, 12 months of the project, and then you got, a couple good partnerships, and then you have, price do what you wanted to do in a bull market, and then everyone's kind of optimism about the project completely changes. So at the end of the day, you need to hunker into projects that you actually like, that you believe in from a fundamental standpoint. And then if price makes sense after that, then you make some decisions. But a lot of you guys do it the other way around. You look at price and you're just like, I feel good or bad about the fundamentals based on what price is doing right now, right? I think that even a lot of the projects that people talk about, again, not saying that these are bad projects, but I don't think you guys even know anything about most of the projects like Casper and a variety of others. You just like price, and therefore the project itself is good. So, all this stuff is important for you long-term investors. For me personally, I'll be holding 5% of my Casper long-term. No matter what happens, I'll just leave it in the staking protocol and just kind of let it cook up through the next bear. So I am a long-term Casper bull. And these are things that kind of contribute to that long-term decision-making of keeping something like Casper long-term, even if it's a small percentage.
I love that, Matty. And that's what truly separates us from the meme coiners, where they think all about the short term. They think about the short term media attention on X. They look at what their Twitter accounts, these meme coiners, these meme coin Twitter accounts are doing to just put out memes and gain quick attention. But that quick attention doesn't last, right? Matty, we could have easily started this YouTube channel and discuss a plethora of other cryptos that had more hype. We don't.
Oh, definitely. We could have probably been 5 or 6x in subscribers if we chose to do shotgun advertising like we talked about previously, where you talk about 100 different coins and you talk about the 3 coins that do well, and then you don't say anything about your losers. We could have talked about, a new coin every week that's hot every week and told you guys it's the next best thing since sliced bread. It goes up 20%, but that's just because the rest of the market's going up 20%, right? And we just don't do that, right? Like we've been very selective. We do have one partnership in the works right now, but it's a very well thought out one and very well vetted one. But we really just don't want to have to deal with any of that stuff, anything that degrades our integrity here. So I'm very happy with the organic growth. I'm very happy with the audience we do have. You guys are the exact kind of people that we want to talk to about this kind of stuff. And those of you that do join our program generally stick with our program because you guys understand the kind of values that we're after. So, for me, I'm very happy with our growth, and I wouldn't change the way we've done it for anything.
Mm-hmm. And for all that to say, team, that is the example it goes in relation to crypto projects. The people that had invested into XRP and had to sit through the SEC v Ripple lawsuit and had to sit on, XRP is a digital asset security. And, all these are just, terrorizing the crypto market with Gensler and the SEC, going after projects, going after companies in crypto land, and that is detrimental to your crypto project. And so, I bring him up all the time. I had to tell him the other day, I was like, hey, bro, I hope you don't mind, but I shit on you a lot throughout the show. But it's like, I had that friend, if you remember, guys, that friend that sold his XRP at the beginning of the lawsuit, right? Maybe he didn't fully understand what he was getting into with XRP, and so the first thing he saw was, oh, Ripple is being sued. Ripple's not XRP, by the way. Ripple's being sued. I better get rid of my XRP, right? But the people that stuck through are now reaping the rewards. They have reaped the rewards in the last couple months now, or November and December of this year. They have really reaped the rewards since then, all right? And you can look at multiple years, but I'm just thinking about short term here. That is what happens when people truly believe in an asset, right? Just like you guys truly believe in CryptoCharged here, people truly believe in assets, right? And so that's why a lot of these assets, 99.9% of cryptos will fail. That's why all meme coins outside the handful that will make it, maybe like WIF, maybe Pepe, of course your Doge, of course your Shiba will make it, but everything outside of that will fail. Of course, we have, there's tokens that were fundamentally good like Luna that failed because they weren't fundamentally good, right? And so this is why you have to do the due diligence for the long term, right? And so this is something, going back to Casper now. So we took it from Casper, we went here, then we started talking about CryptoCharged. This is why I'm bullish on Casper. Going into 2025, right. I'm bullish on Casper because now we are in the implementation phase, all right? We got the structure, we got the new vision that's community-centered for what we want, and we will vote on it. And now that is what we're going to see in 2025. Hopefully, this new implementation, this delegation policy is just the beginning for Casper from how I see it, right? So I'm very excited, team. If you got anything valuable in this show, please leave a like. Maddie, are we missing anything? This is our second to last show for this year. I feel like we shared a lot of things about investing, Casper, CryptoCharge, HBAR, all this stuff. Is there anything we need to leave the team with here today?
Yeah, leave us some good questions for our last Ask Maddie show, guys. Let's make it a banger.
Well, we don't have one. We don't have.
Oh, you're right. I lied, guys. Do not leave a single question. You're done with questions for the year. No, you guys still leave questions because we'll cover them obviously, at the top of next year. So make sure you guys are leaving some questions out there. Again, we are running the special for CryptoCharged through the end of the year. Code YouTube gets you half off plus a 30-day free trial. So $49 a month or $4.99 for the year plus 30 days free. So even though you got to put your card in there, you get whole 30 days before we charge you, and then you can be like, hey, day 29, it's not for me. No big deal. Come check us out. We got the Discord, Coin Library. We got the live shows. Obviously, we have a little bit of holiday interruption over these next couple of weeks, but I would really love for you guys to come check it out and get locked in. Especially if you guys have been watching our program for a little while now. Like, you guys know what we're about. You guys know where our values are. You guys know our approach and our strategy to the market. So if this all feels attractive to you, this is just, amplified 10x over on our website. So I would encourage you guys to at least come try it. And if you guys don't like it, the best thing you guys can do is let me know what you guys didn't like about my program so I can, make improvements. So, but really that's not the case most of the time. Like I said, once the people are with us for a few months, they generally stick around because they enjoy the support. And, there's just nothing else like what we have out there for the pricing that we have.
I love it, Maddie. 35 minutes, team. You got a 35-minute show. Make sure you leave a like. Enjoy your Christmas with your family. Enjoy it with your friends. Tell us something in the comment section you guys do for Christmas. Talk with my family. I'm like, we don't really have any traditions. And so my grandfather was like, let's go to Capitol Grill on Christmas. I'm like, you're a good man. That's a great call. Let's make that a tradition. So, team, tell us what you guys are doing for Christmas in the comment section down below. And we will see you for our last show next Monday. And we'll do some great coverage there, cover some cryptos and such, latest news. And we will see you guys then. Bye.